Well, hello and welcome to Faith, Philosophy and Life with me, Mr. Shelton. It's great to see you again, and I do hope, as always, that you are doing well. You're watching this because you're probably not at school, unless you're desperate to watch me, which is slightly concerning on a number of levels. And what we are going to do over this half term is we're going to be thinking about rules, and we're going to think about why we have them and what the Bible says, and we're going to look specifically at an event, or should I say a story, about refugees a little bit later as well. So it's going to be quite an interesting one. So the first few lessons are going to be about the Ten Commandments and why we have rules and the Beatitudes. And then, what I say, we're going to focus in on this story. So I'd like you to think about, why do we need rules? Okay, that's my opening thought for you. Go and grab your pen and a paper, because here's our cheesy intro music. Okay, so what you will need today is you will need a little clock in front of you, because I'm going to set you some timed activities to get on with, and rather than me just set a video for 1 hour with you just staring at me looking at you, which is kind of weird, for about an hour, then you're going to need to just time yourself and then come back to the video. So as always, pause this clip where you go and make sure that you have sent all your work to your teacher. So why have we got rules? Well, there's lots of different reasons why we might have rules. Okay, there are things from following authority to keeping law and order, through to things that maybe that they're religious laws that are set up so we can worship God correctly. I'm not doing classwork title day as I would normally do at this point during this lesson, because what I want to do is I want to just have an exploration about what sort of rules that you think are important for a society. So I'd like you to start by looking at these questions. I want you to imagine that you are going to a desert island. No phones, no internet, no nothing. I want you to think about what 5 items would you take. Now, if you say you're going to take your phone, okay, but you're going to need to think about, is that you've got a way of charging that? Would you share your items with others if you went with other people? How would you ensure that everyone got along on your island? How would you stop an argument or a fight? And what 5 rules would you give on your island? Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this and you're a bloke, I teach an all-girls school, you have got about 15 minutes to work through those questions. So please pause me and come back to me in 15 minutes time of your time, not of mine. Okay, so welcome back. So what we are going to think about, each of you now, is an island. I mean, you probably at home by yourself, so you probably are an island. And you're an independent community that needs to survive and live together until you're rescued, or you're back at school, depending on your viewpoint. I'd like you to think about these questions now. Would it be important for everyone to get on? What would be some of the problems you might meet? What rules might you make? And what might it be like with no rules? Okay, so what you need to do is you need to come up with a list of rules and elect a leader. Well, that'll probably be you, unless you can do this via WhatsApp with some friends or whatever. Let's come up with a code of conduct as well. So you might now need to answer these questions in your book and maybe come up with a list of rules as well. Okay, going to take you another 10 minutes or so. So pause me now and then come back to me. Okay, so here's our next issue. You only have enough food to last for 6 weeks. Have you got rules in place to deal with food rations? Who will build a shelter? Who will cook and keep everything tidy? And you need to map out your island and prepare a rota for each person to look after a different particular area. So cleaning, cooking, washing, hunting, because you probably need to find food, scavenging, a lookout party. So have a work through that, come back to me in 5 minutes. Okay, problem time. One member of the group refuses to help out on the island. What are you going to do about it? 2 minutes, come back to me. 2 minutes, go. Okay, now there's a newspaper breaking news. Obviously you wouldn't have a newspaper because you'd be writing on coconut leaves. Food has been reported of going missing in islands across the region. There's not enough to last. If the culprit is not found, the whole community will starve. Bom, bom, bom. Calls are being made for the island to investigate, to solve the problems. What are you going to do as the leader? 3 minutes to come up with a solution. Okay, so we're looking to escape now. You've built a raft that allows one member of the group to visit another island. Do you go at night and steal their food? Do you go to discuss the best ways to survive on an island? Do you go to have a party in the evening? Or do you ruin the other island's shelter? So you need to choose one of those options and explain why you've chosen it. Quite interesting when we think about what's happening around the world today in terms of COVID and our freedoms that are being curtailed. Just because we shouldn't leave the house because that's what the law says, there are some people who are choosing to, and therefore that's putting others at risk. Is one person's freedom worth more of a society? Anyway, have a look at the questions that are on the screen, rather than the one I've just randomly thought about, and come back to me. You've got 3 or 4 minutes, let's do that. Okay, so you've now been shipwrecked on the island for 1 month. It feels like longer than that. You're not sure how long it will be till you've been rescued, so you decide to make the best of things and create your own country. In your group, I want you now to come up with a name for your country, a slogan for your island, and a symbol. Okay, so we're going to come back to me in a moment. I'm going to give you 5 or 6 minutes to do that. I think we should be about 40 minutes into the lesson now. Keep going. Okay, so everyone on the island's getting a bit bored and they don't want to be with the same people all the time. So it's been decided there's going to be a swap. The island chief will present your island with a poster that you've just made or the comments that you've just made. Each person that comes to your island needs to bring food with them. And if you choose not to move, you will remain on the island with the amount of food that you've got. The island with the greatest number of people will be rewarded. However, each island cannot hold more than 10 people. So this is the question. How will you decide who gets to move and how would you decide who gets to stay? Okay, so you're going to reward people differently for that as well. Just give you a couple of minutes to think about that. Okay, so let me just recap those questions because that's a tad more confusing. How are you going to decide who goes? Is it they have to write a letter and explain their reasons? And how do you decide who stays if you've got to make that call? Give you 3 or 4 minutes to do that, then come back to me. Great, you've received a message in a bottle. Congratulations. And it says this: Dear Islanders, we've received your SOS call and we'll be sending out rescue vehicles tomorrow. We have space to rescue 15 people from 6 islands. You're going to have to choose who gets rescued first. Have a think about that. Make a list of those sort of groups of people that you would say are most important to be rescued. 2 minutes, go. Okay, so this is where we're heading with all of this random task I've given you. How have your rules helped the island that you came up with? Do you think it was necessary to actually have rules? Do the individual needs outweigh the needs of the group? Does putting yourself first make you a bad person? William Glasser once said that we're driven by 5 genetic needs: survival, love, belonging, power, freedom, and fun. Which of these do you think would be the priority on your island? And what's the point of actually being good? Ladies, I'm going to leave it there today. That is probably your hour put up. So maybe answer a few of those questions in your book, bit of reflection there. We're going to come on to rules of the Bible next time. We're looking at the 10 Commandments, then the Beatitudes. And the reason for doing today is because I want you to think how important rules could be to a society. Thanks for your time. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Wash hands. God bless you. I'll see you soon.